folks are getting to Indiana. NFL Scouting Combine's about to start. Adam Peters will address the media tomorrow. You'll hear it live right here on BMitch and Finlay. And then Dan Quinn's going to speak later in the afternoon. I'm going to assume you'll hear that live on Grant and Danny. DA, what's your first question for AP at this point?
I mean, I guess I would say, you know, obviously we're several weeks from the draft, but is your inclination to keep the pick or to move the pick? That's what I would like to know, first and foremost. And it's okay if he wants to move the pick and get more picks. I get that. I don't think anybody would begrudge them that. And I think a lot of people would prefer they do that, actually. You know, so that would be my first thing. And then, you know, if he probably wouldn't answer that, at least not in a definitive way. But I certainly would want to know, like, given that you have two new first-time coordinators, how much more of a premium will there be in terms of how does that change roster building? Like, do you go all in on free agents or mostly in on free agents because you know you're going to need as much talent as possible to help young coordinators who are just learning their way? I mean, how do you kind of prioritize that if that's the case? You know, like, that has to have consequences. You would just have a very different approach, I would think, to free agency and the draft if you have brought two veteran guys in here who have particular systems with particular ideas about particular personnel, and then you can kind of micro-target guys that fit those profiles for personnel that they would want in their system. Whereas with new guys who are just starting, I can't imagine they say, well, I have to have this kind of safety or this kind of defensive tackle or this kind of linebacker. I think you could probably have more leeway to go after different types of guys. I just wonder how that's all going to play out.
Yeah.
You know, the marriage of those two things, because it just creates a lot of questions for guys that have never had to call plays before.
I think the thing for me is kind of like the defense we know is basically depleted.
Yeah.
Offense, you have some pieces. I wonder which side is he leaning towards.
Yeah, I mean, I would think he would say defense, because I think anybody, even a cursory look at this team, would tell you they have more on the offensive side. Now, they have things that they need to get. They need a tight end, right? Like, they do need one. They probably need another wide receiver, but you don't have to use the seventh pick, and you wouldn't use the seventh pick, I would think, on either of those positions if you kept the pick. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the defensive side is the one where they need a lot of help, really at all three levels. Every one of those position groups, to me, needs more talent. All of them do. Yeah. So whichever way they go, you know, if they take Downs at 7, fine with me. You know what I mean? Like, he's really good. So, you know, I think they need an edge rusher. If there was, now there may not be an edge rusher to take at 7, which then says, do you take the safety at 7, which is kind of high for safety. But but if he's as good as everybody says he is, then why wouldn't you take a guy that's more talented than most safeties that are coming out in a given draft? If he's better than that, I mean, I don't remember anybody complaining about taking Sean Taylor 5th because he was that good, you know. Like, and so if Downs is that good, take him at 7. That's fine with me.
What's interesting, DA, is we're talking with our friend David Aldridge here from The Athletic. You can give him a follow at David Aldridge DC, joining us via the Rude Guest Hotline. What's interesting, DA, is a number of kind of the draft analysts that I think are best at their job have identified Caleb Downs as the safety out of Ohio State you were referencing as probably the best singular defensive player in this draft, and then Jeremiah Love, the running back, as the best singular offensive player in this draft.
Right.
I'm with you on Downs. I think people get too caught up in positional value. If he's a star, you need stars.
Yep.
What would you think if they went the other way, though, and Love's sitting there and they're like, all right, we're just going to have to score 35 a game?
I mean, there's an argument to be made for that. I would disagree with the argument, but I respect the fact that you could make that argument, right? Yeah. Like, you could say, we've got a superstar talent at quarterback. We've got a very good offensive line. We've got at least one really good wide receiver. If we got a stud running back, just a no doubt, this guy is a superstar level running back, then we can score 35 points a game. and just outscore people. Now, I wouldn't do that because of injuries.
Yep.
Because people get hurt. Who gets hurt a lot? Running backs and quarterbacks get hurt a lot. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so to me, it wouldn't be worth it because I can't guarantee that Jeremiah Love's going to play 17 games.
That position.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why I wouldn't do it. I understand the argument, but I just wouldn't do it because I just don't. I think running back, we have seen over the years, and especially here, we saw it last year with Bill. We saw it with Alfred Morris a few years ago. You can get a good running back in the 6th or 7th round. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to use the first round pick in a top 10 draft or the top 10 pick in the draft on a running back. You can get a good running back, not as good, but a good running back later in the draft.
I tend to agree with you, man. It is an interesting kind of dynamic there. The other side of this, like certainly nominally, the combine is about the potential draft picks, but it's also kind of setting the market for free agency and everything else that happens.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Kind of the top of my list for things I want to hear Adam Peters talk about. Mm-hmm. And admittedly, this is tainted by what happened last year with Terry McLaurin. But
yeah.
The contract situation. Like Terry, everybody played pretty nice between Terry and the organization kind of up until May-ish.
Yeah,
Laramie's not going to play nice. Like he's just going to be off the grid. Nobody's going to hear from him.
Yeah,
right.
But he's not going to play nice at all in this. I want to know how big of a priority is getting the Tunsil thing done, maybe even before free agency opens, and to not let this linger like the McLaurin thing did.
Yeah, no, it's huge because you're talking about OTAs and training camp, and we saw the lack of, what having no OTAs and no training camp did for Terry, even after having a great year with Jaden, right? Like he had a sensational year with Jaden in 2024, right? And not having that time together messed everything up. And then he got hurt, which again, is going to happen when a guy doesn't practice and doesn't participate in training camp. You have got to be in training camp. Like you have to be.
Yeah.
And so, no, absolutely. To me, it is the top priority. I think the discussion or the talking points about wide receiver and how you just can't spend money on a 30-year-old wide receiver, blah, 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 I think allowed that negotiation to get sideways. I don't want to hear none of that with Laramie Tunsil.